Welcome to this week's edition of This Podcast Goes to 11.
Hey, Bob, what do we have on the docket for today's This Podcast Goes to 11?
Oh, boy, what did we cook up for this week's podcast, Mark? We cooked up our top three, and our top three bands or artists that we would be embarrassed is probably not the correct word, but maybe ashamed. I don't know. I'm not sure what we're going to say. And maybe that people would be surprised who we like, who we listen to that doesn't probably fit our personalities, what people, how they know us. So that's that's the topic of the week, Mark.
Okay, well, that sounds good. I've got plenty of embarrassing music that I listen to, so
Right.
this I can probably just do more or less off the cuff. So
Right.
I think, folks, what we're going to do, you want to go 3, 2, 1? We're going to do our top three. Our bottom three? I don't know if it's top or bottom three, but anyway, how about our top three most embarrassing bands that we secretly love or something like that? Does that
Yeah,
sound good?
secret. Yeah, because some people call them a guilty pleasure
Yeah.
kind of a thing. And so, whether it's a
I don't have to mention that I watch Godzilla movies, right?
yeah, right. No,
All right.
don't.
Thank God I don't have to mention that.
Right. So this doesn't necessarily mean they're bad bands either. It just means it's probably something that people wouldn't associate us
Yeah,
with.
quit doing the CYA, okay?
I'm trying to, there's
All
nothing
right,
wrong
so
with these
who wants
bands.
to go first? Who's going to take the plunge first?
Oh, take the plunge. Sure. I will take the
All
plunge.
right,
Yes.
what's your number three?
So my number three band, and this is a band that I've paid attention to a lot back in college. Sometimes at going to sleep at night, I put this music on, and I still do. It's Bread.
Oh, Bread. Okay.
Bread. So if you're, I don't know if the audience is familiar with Bread, if they recall David
Classic.
Gates.
Classic
Gates and
wimp
Bread.
rock,
It is wimp rock. It is
Yeah.
David Gates with his higher pitched voice, just shy of a falsetto,
Yeah.
pretty much. But all those great songs. I mean, it's so easy just to. I wear headphones when I sleep, so I actually put the best of Bread, or now on Apple Music, Bread Essentials.
Okay.
And it goes right down the list of all the big hits. And, of all of them, Guitar Man, maybe it's no surprise. Love the song.
Now, do you say Guitar Man or Guitar Man?
Guitar Man.
That's how
It
I
has to
say
be-
it too. Yeah.
It
I
has to
love
be
that
Guitar
song.
Man.
I love how empty it feels at the end. It's kind of sad, but it's kind of he had his day, and
Yeah.
that's a great song. I agree.
Yeah, it's a great song. I've actually thought about re-recording it and my version, and seeing what I could do with it, bringing kind of an old song back. I've been kicking it around for a while. So we might get it on the show one time. A few seconds of it.
have Bread reprise. You've
Bread-
heard it here first. Folks.
Bread reprise. But yeah, what
Oh,
about
yeah.
what are your thoughts on Bread? You like them?
Well, let me tell you what my number three choice was. My number three
Huh?
choice is Bread.
Shut
So, yeah, same band. Yeah, Guitar Man, Everything I Own, Baby I'm a Want You.
Yes.
It Don't
Make It With
Matter
You.
to Me. Great stuff.
What's the song? Aubrey.
Aubrey.
Oh,
Aubrey's great to me, too.
it's so lame of a song in a
So-
sense, but it's great. Or Diary. There's another one.
Diary. Oh, Diary. Yeah, that's really
Oh my God.
a whimper.
And I saw, and David Gates, without getting off too much of a left-hand turn here. Goodbye Girl.
Yeah,
he
that's
did it.
just David Gates. That's what
It's
that
just
was.
David Gates, right? But still a great, from the movie in the 70s
Yeah.
or whenever it was.
Yeah,
but,
so I'm 100% on board with Bread.
Wonderful. I can't believe that. And number three too, which is weird.
And my
So-
number three choice. Yep.
All right. So
So-
let's put a check in the box for Bread.
All right, we got the bread box. Checker. It's
I'm
not
not
bigger
sure.
than a bread box.
The
Okay.
bread box.
All right,
I
so
don't know.
should I
Well, we
go with
start
my
now.
number two then, and you can
We
do your number two?
we may have lost everybody right there.
We'll
Not
see.
sure.
We'll see.
But, all
You
right.
can see the monitor and see if everybody
Right.
dropped off.
All right.
But
Why don't you shoot? Why don't you go with number two?
well, if you haven't dropped off yet, now is your chance. My number two is the Carpenters. I
Ah,
absolutely love the Carpenters and their
yes.
songs that I'm. Have you ever seen that movie Tommy Boy? And where
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah, and where they're in the car and they're like, "You change the station. This song's so lame. You change it. No, I'll change it. No, you change it."
Right.
Superstar for the
Oh,
Carpenters came on,
oh,
and there's a cut scene, and all of a sudden there's tears running down their cheeks, and they're screaming,
right.
"Baby, baby, baby,
Oh
baby,
God.
oh baby."
Is that right before the deer comes through the rear window? Right. Yeah. It's so funny.
But
You
I
know,
love that song, and
yeah,
so many others.
Superstar is it's almost haunting when it starts.
It
Long
is.
ago, so far away, that whole bit in the beginning. Her voice is just it's pristine in that moment in the beginning of that song.
It is.
That song really is 70s genre music. In that type of music, Superstar's right at the top. It really is. I think it's their best song.
It's hard for me to say. I
Yeah.
like that one a lot. Of course, I know we've only just begun. I like that one a lot. And I really like Rainy Days and Mondays a lot.
Yeah.
What's one other
Um,
one? There's another one I was writing down.
they have
Um,
they have a weird
Obviously, Close to You. I think Close to You is kind of oversaturated with me. But
close to you. Yeah, close to you. What is there's a song that they do about an alien spaceship. It's the weirdest song. It's it's on it's on Apple Music and it is calling all something. I can't remember. It is a weird
I
song.
I don't know. I don't
It's
have it on
it's horrible. And
my. Okay.
it's almost as if they have what were they even thinking putting the song out? Someone in the comments, if you know the song that I'm thinking about,
Yeah. Yeah. Comment
put it
on
in
that
there
song. Make sure
because
I
it's
don't have to
terrible.
listen to it.
But I do love the Carpenters. It's a
Yeah.
great band.
I
It's one
think
of those.
Superstar, I think if I'm correct, Superstar was written by either Paul Williams or Leon Russell. But
Oh,
I mean,
really?
they had a lot of really good writers on those songs.
Oh, yeah. I thought her brother pretty much.
Her brother wrote a lot of them, but
Yeah.
I believe a lot of their hits were Leon Russell, Paul Williams wrote a couple, somebody else, some other famous guy.
Well, there is if you're interested in going out to YouTube and getting in the rabbit hole at the Carpenters, I think it's we've only just begun. There's a video where they're doing it. It's on a classic 70s set where they're dressed in the 70s. They've got some plastic sculptures they're standing on and stuff. And this dude in the band rocks a tambourine like you've never seen anyone play a tambourine before in your life. Um, it's really funny. So check out that video. You'll get a kick out of it.
Tambourine
He
being
might be the greatest tambourine player on earth.
Hey, well, tambourine being the coolest instrument,
Right.
only second to cowbell, I think.
Right. Yeah.
All right, so Bob, what's your number two?
Oh, number two. This is difficult, but if I were to go number two, I brought a prop here. I don't know if you're familiar with this.
Oh yeah,
Carol King.
absolutely. Great
Uh,
album.
it is a great album, and so this is nothing to be embarrassed about, other than people might be surprised that I'm a huge Carol King fan. And in fact, when I had huge album collection, it got destroyed in a flood. And this is when I was replacing albums. This was one of the first ones I went and repurchased at a used album bin. But that album, it really, um,
You might have gotten my copy when I got rid of all my vinyl. Possible.
it the songwriting, and she wrote a million songs with her husband, I think, for all sorts of different artists. but
Yep.
It's too late. I feel the earth move so far away. Jazzman, Will You Love Me Tomorrow? All those songs were
Well,
just,
Tapestry itself is a great
yeah,
song.
those were all off that album, I think, except
Yep.
for Jazzman. Um,
Right.
but just a phenomenal performer, songwriter. A little bit, I would think, not in my wheelhouse for
Yeah.
music, but if her songs come on, yeah, I never turn them. Uh, Even my wife, though, she'll look at me and go, really? Like,
Now, how about on a related person? How about Laura Nyro? Are you a Laura Nyro?
I don't know who she is.
Oh,
Laura
yeah, I think
Nyro.
they were contemporaries. She was a girlfriend of Todd Rundgren for a while,
Hmm,
and you can hear her influence in Todd Rundgren's stuff. And I think that
interesting.
she was influential, or Carole King and Laura Nyro influenced each other. They're very similar. Very
I
similar.
think
Why don't you check it out?
it's the Carly Simon,
Yeah.
Carole King, all those types of female singer-songwriter type things. They all probably came from Joni Mitchell in
Yeah.
those before her. But Carole King is, she collaborated with James Taylor and You've Got a Friend and different stuff like that. But a
And
phenomenal
Aretha,
artist.
right?
What's that?
Collaborated with Aretha. There you go.
Yeah, yeah. So Carole King, there it is. That's one of my faves.
Yeah, I think Carpenters are a little more embarrassing, brother.
They
That's
probably.
just I like Carole King too. I
Oh,
told you that I wouldn't call him my friend. It's more I would call him my friend, but he probably wouldn't call me his friend. Charles Koppelman, who is I had a friendship with him or acquaintance with him, and he supposedly had an office next to Carole King when they were
oh, really?
songwriters. Yeah, when they were
No
songwriters in the
kidding.
old days. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Wow,
friend
that's
of
pretty cool.
mine. He went on to become president of EMI Records. That's how I
Oh,
knew him.
no kidding, eh?
Yeah.
So when I think embarrassing, what I'm envisioning embarrassing is me pulling up to a traffic light and singing So Far Away at the top of my lungs and maybe having to put my window up so that the person next to me doesn't say,
Okay.
come on, brother.
That's pretty embarrassing. Okay,
Right.
I
All
agree.
right.
I agree.
Fair enough.
Okay, before we get to our number one, I thought it made sense for us to talk a little bit about our honorable mentions. So I'm just going to mention a few really quickly. And this is not meant to be exhaustive. I just wrote this down before we started today. So,
Sure.
um, uh, so here are some things that I might be embarrassed in some circles. So the first
Gotcha.
one is AC/DC. I'm embarrassed that I still listen to AC/DC. That's definitely a guilty pleasure. I mean, come on. Like, it's very infantile music, right? I mean, pretty
Yeah.
sexist and
Yes.
pretty,
Yes.
yeah, that, it doesn't
But
take Fellini to figure out what that stuff, given the
oh,
dog.
yeah, I can think some given. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah. So AC/DC is one I'm not really embarrassed by. I think anybody who's watches my guitar channel knows I wouldn't be embarrassed
sure.
about it, but AC/DC. And the second one's in the same vein as the Sweet or Sweet. They
Oh,
call
I love
themselves
Sweet.
like both. They're great, right? But they're
Fox is on the Run and Ballroom Blitz and what's the other hit?
Little Willie Willie Won't.
Willow. Now there's one for you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right.
What was the other one? Love is Like Oxygen.
Yes, that came later.
Yeah, yeah, that came.
But they were doing that high harmony stuff that like Queen did, maybe even either simultaneously or right before. I mean, they were doing that stuff.
They're still kind of Spinal Tap-ish to me.
They are. They are.
But you're right. Every time I put on that, are you ready, Steve? Uh-huh. Andy?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Mick? Okay.
Boom, boom, boom,
All right,
boom,
fellas, let's go.
Oh, now you bring me right back to junior high school right now.
I know. It's definitely a junior high. And Fox on the
Yeah.
Run, same thing. It's definitely a junior high thing.
Yeah.
Okay, couple of other ones that kind of I get embarrassed a little bit. One is Hootie and the Blowfish. Love them. Love their stuff.
I used to like it when it came out, and I don't like it anymore for some reason. I don't know what it is about it. And he went country, Darius Rucker,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
He's a big country star. But when that album came out, forget the name of the album, the big album, the first album.
Yeah, what's that called? I can't remember.
Anyhow,
I'm getting them mixed up with my other honorable mention. But anyway, yeah, And he also plays now. He sings with. He's done some songs with Robert Randolph in a family band. That's cool stuff.
Yeah,
Still a little
yeah,
bit of a country-ish sound, which is kind of
right.
interesting. And the last one, honorable mention for me, is Huey Lewis and the News. And I know a lot of people wouldn't necessarily be embarrassed, but let's face it, that's top 40 bubblegum stuff.
It's the biggest. Oh, it is. I know some close people to me who hate Huey Lewis, and that when the song comes on, I'm like, nah, it's I
That's
like
how
it.
I feel
That,
like you, Bob. It comes on, I'm like, I really like this. I'm leaving.
that album, Sport, was undeniably, there was a lot of hooks in that album and really catchy,
Yeah.
catchy stuff. This Is It and all those songs that
Yeah.
were, even the videos were really corny,
Yeah.
with the band and stuff running around. But
It's pretty cheesy, but I like the cheese. But anyway, those were my honorable mentions, not my number one. Now, how about a couple of your
honorable
honorable
mentions.
mentions?
Good. All right. So I could, I'm going to take a whole genre of music because it's tough for me to pick. I could pick out 100 bands out of this genre, but I'm really big into what is considered yacht rock, if you're familiar with yacht rock. So
Kenny
I don't care
Loggins.
if it's Robbie Dupree with Steal Away or Paul Davis or really Ambrosia,
Uh,
really, really chill, overproduced, and some really good music.
Pablo Cruz.
Pablo Cruz, we just said it at the same time. Unbelievable. But all those bands of that era are all almost, they're all guilty pleasures. And so here's an album that I actually bought that would have been on the list, but you remember this one.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
So this is
Very well.
kind of an honorable mention. This is, and then he followed it up with that Luke and Laura
Luke and
song
Laura
from General
Yeah.
Hospital. Anyways, so that whole
Uh,
genre of music I could put into a whole thing of
Laugh,
just,
don't cry, right? When you
oh
think
God,
of Laura, laugh, don't cry.
yeah,
You know
yeah.
she'd want it that way.
You remembered the lyrics, not me. But
I love that stuff too.
so that would be a band.
Yeah.
I thought about this and I thought about even now. So I listen to a lot of newer music too. And I'm embarrassed to say, I love everything that Katy Perry puts out. Okay.
Really?
So yeah.
I wouldn't have thought that.
Yeah. So her songs are all feel good songs. They're, they get you pumped up, Last Friday Night and, California Girls,
Obviously,
and
firework.
Fireworks. So all those songs I really like. I like pop music.
Yeah.
I like a well-crafted song, and a lot of them are. They have a lot of hooks and they're real catchy. So
Yeah.
Katy Perry, Paramore is another album
Okay.
that I guess would have been in their earlier days. They were considered somewhat of an emo type band, but they've evolved. And Haley Williams is really a phenomenal vocalist.
Mhm.
So I listen to Paramore a lot on Spotify. Katy Perry songs I put on, Dua Lipa, these newer bands. So I guess I don't know if I'm embarrassed, but I think my kids would probably laugh well, they do laugh if they see me singing one of the songs in the car. They're like, come on, dude. Like, come on, Dad. Really?
That's pretty
What
good.
else?
You're hip with the young crowd.
I'm
That's
trying
good.
to stay with it. And other honorable mentions I think would be uh I bought this album, which is horrible. Rick Springfield.
Is that Working Class Dog?
It is. It's got, I bought it for Jesse's girl.
Right.
And it's just, this was every girl's heartthrob in high school. And I
Right.
said, what the hell am I doing buying this buying this album, right?
Well, he was like the epitome of that, right? Wasn't he on soap operas?
He was on
literally
General
soap
Hospital.
operas. Right?
Yeah.
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 But yeah,
Noah
Jesse's
Drake.
Girl.
Noah Drake, I think his name was, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, okay. You're taking me. I can't go into that swamp.
Whatever. Yeah, it is a swamp.
That's
But-
too deep for me.
So that, just that kind of stuff. I have all these one-offs that are like, if I look through my album collection, I'm like, what were you think? I bought a Bangles album
Yeah.
when that came out. And I'm like, I look back and I'm going like, ooh, that was a rough period.
Yeah. But I mean, we're talking about stuff that we like now. And,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and, yeah.
Oh,
stuff that we
true.
like now.
True. And you know what? There's some songs on that Rick Springfield album that are great. They're great sing-along songs. So I have no shame. No shame.
Yeah. I mean, I think, one of the things that distinguishes, I think, these, the honorable mentions from the ones that, like Bread and the Carpenters, almost to a song when they come on, almost. There's the Carpenters, definitely some embarrassment moments there for me, but almost to a song, I listen to them and I still like those songs.
Yeah.
I almost wrote down, for example, I could have put her in the honorable mentions. I almost wrote down Helen Reddy, which is pretty dang embarrassing. But the truth is, half the songs that I hear from her, I'm like, that doesn't work. Probably more than half. But some of the ones that come on, I'm like, oh, I really like that one. Now, it's not the one that you think, but,
Yeah, I got into a rabbit hole once on a Helen Reddy journey because I ran across Iron Woman was her big hit, right? And then
Woman,
Angie Baby and some other stuff. But, she did a cover of the Jesus Christ Superstar song. Yeah. So anyways, we're not gonna go down to Helen Reddy.
Let's not go down there. But yeah,
because if you're gonna say Helen Reddy, you can't leave out Anne Murray.
Right. But so I'm not going to say I said Helen Reddy, but it really doesn't comport because I really probably wouldn't be listening to her, even with some of the songs that we just talked about.
It's like with me, just another honorable, and I don't know if this is honorable mention, if it's a legit, nothing to be embarrassed about, but it's definitely something I normally wouldn't have listened to when I was younger, and I listen to now, and I really like it, is Glenn Campbell stuff. I love listening to Glenn Campbell stuff, but, Southern Nights, it's, those got that, or Rhinestone Cowboy, those kind of were a little bit cheesy songs in a way when they came out, but I love Glenn Campbell. Glenn Campbell, I love Glenn Campbell.
Galveston and
that's my favorite song.
Lyman and what's the other one I'm trying to think of? Gentle on My Mind. Those are legitimately great songs.
Yes, and they weren't written by him. They were written by
Jimmy Webb.
Jimmy Webb. Yep, Jimmy Webb. So, anyways.
All right, so I'm going to go to my number one. This is my legitimate pick. I love this group, and I listen to almost every song that comes on without fail, never change. And my number one embarrassing group that I list is the Bee Gees.
Oh my! Stop! Stop!
Okay, I'm stopped. What is that? Yours?
Yes.
Oh my God!
I got the album.
Believe it.
I got the album right here. I pulled it out. I got my copy of Saturday Night Fever.
Oh my God!
Isn't all just them, but there they are, right?
Amazing.
And then, of course, life wouldn't be complete without Bee Gees Gold Volume 1, right? Which is all the old stuff. Which is all
Massachusetts and Gotta Get a Message to You. And,
I mean, if you read,
if you love somebody.
Yeah, To Love Somebody, Massachusetts, Words, Lonely Days.
New York Mining Disaster.
I Started a Joke.
Oh my God, I forgot about that one.
I mean, so just fantastic. So, and you almost feel bad because they sold over 220 million records. Global superstars, but they became, victimized.
A joke.
They became victimized.
They started a joke.
They did start a joke through the disco era. I mean, and I love that music. I mean, How Deep Is Your Love and those songs are some of the best songs on radio.
Night Fever.
And so our number 3 and our number 1 were the same. That is creepy, Mark.
That is pretty strange, Bob.
That is creepy. But the Bee Gees definitely are one of my favorite bands. I love the skit that they do. They used to do on Saturday Night Live with Jimmy Fallon and Justin Timberlake. Did you ever see the skit? If you haven't watched the skit, just look. So Jimmy Fallon plays Barry Gibb.
He does like Barry Gibb or something.
And Justin does Robin. Right. And the guy of few words, right? And it is absolutely, it's a parody of just the way they are with the gold medallions around their hairy chests and stuff. And but the songwriting is undeniable. The musicianship, the harmonies, everything about them, right?
yeah, it became a cliche, that falsetto voice and the disco beat and all that. It became a cliche, but if you listen to music of that era, it's really the classy, it's really the class act of that era, I think, if you're going to pick it out. And they're talented,
Yeah.
excellent talent. And just listen to Love Somebody and tell me that is not soulful,
Oh,
right? It just really is.
it's fantastic. And I remember I bought the 45 Jive Talkin', the 45, when it came out. And when I was younger, when I was that young, I thought that was their first song. I didn't even know they had this whole, because that was right before Saturday Night Fever came out. But all those other songs I didn't even know about that, because they were someone, they were the Australian I mean, some of their old stuff, it's comparable to some of the Beatles, some of their, like, if you listen to some of the songs on their older albums, they were trying to emulate some of that stuff. Did a little different, but similar.
Yeah, they were a little closer to an R&B group, I think, but
Yeah,
the Beatles. But it was a mix. It was a mix. I mean,
it was a
definitely
mix.
the songwriting was there.
Yep.
I remember, uh, this is weird. I'm going to say the same thing with the start of the joke, but I remember Massachusetts because I was interested in the Bee Gees at that time, and they were on, I think, a Mike Douglas show, maybe. Remember, it's like on
Okay. Oh yeah, yeah.
Channel
Sure.
7 or something like that. And they came on and they were being interviewed, and they said, we'll do a song. And they said, but we're going to do an old song. And they did Massachusetts. And I was like,
Yeah.
man, but this was a great song.
Right. Yeah.
I said, I bet my cousin would like that. And I called him up. He's like, oh yeah, they got to get a message to you. They're great. The
Right.
disco, he hated the disco stuff, but I still like that too.
Yeah. No, I like it all. I really like the band. I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't be too embarrassed.
Maybe not.
But people. But I think a lot of people.
We'll see what people say.
I think a lot of people would just scoff and say, "Oh my!" But a lot of people, I mean, like I said, 220 million albums sold, and their catalog speaks volumes. But yeah, there was a time probably in my journey where I would have not been so open about my love of the Beatles music, right? So
that's right.
anyhow, right. Well, that's pretty wild. That's funny.
All right, that's pretty amazing, Bob. So 2 out of 3 we agreed on completely. This totally unscripted, and we didn't sync up.
Incredible.
So that's what are who are the groups that we missed? Should we be embarrassed about these things? Maybe we shouldn't be. Maybe we should be. Let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
And let us know what your guilty pleasures are. And we'll see you next time. Bob, you have any parting thoughts before we head out?
No, I think hopefully we brought back some memories of some of these bands, good, bad, or indifferent. Like I said, I don't know if there's such a thing as a guilty pleasure, because you know what sounds good to your ears, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. Listen to the music you love.
You got it.
That's what counts.
All right. I can't add anything to that. We'll see y'all next time on This Podcast Goes to 11.